Alright, what's up yins guys? This I've been meaning to make a video about. And I think I'll do videos talking about annoying ass YouTube videos real soon. But I want to introduce you to something here. And if you guys have any comments on this, let me know what you actually bought off of a YouTube ad which you're proud of. Yes, there are good things that you can buy with YouTube ads, and mine was this. And this here, of course, you know, I show it to my partner. We're into some of the same things, and she does the clerical stuff and the buying. I don't want to make a long ass review, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in here about how certain mechanisms work. It's you know, it's and I like the design on the cover. Very wonderful book. I don't know where to start. It talks about how a lot of mechanisms work and can be made. I figure you can probably rebuild a lot of machines, if you will, like the old-fashioned way, you know, which is I don't want to get into it too much, but some people with some prior knowledge and experience already can pull it off, but it's saved up in detail a lot of things, everything from, oh geez, there's wine making, but talk about incandescent bulbs, oil refining. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might even be able to, some of your guys' kids might be, if you wanted to do some kind of book report or science report on it. When I pulled open this book out of nowhere and talked about oil refining, geez, I remember when I was in one of my first years in a Christian school when I was younger, one of the Christian schools I spent some time in, try to get away from a lot of the bullshit, you know what I mean, too. Well, I vaguely remember a science report I did or whatever in science class. They talked about the destructive distillation of petroleum, how you get gasoline, kerosene, all that, yada yada. But, and there's things about, you know, everything from edible plants, mechanisms, anatomy and blood, roads, how making roads. Hell, I was the background I had with certain kinds of being around construction work or whatever, and things I did along with my stepdad. And back in the day, even you get recycled bricks, I have built and put things together sidewalks, did all kind of cool shit. I have no doubt, with or without this in our own minds, or with this as a helper, in the if you had to, can put together new roads, new meeting places, building compound, if you will, refurbish a building on the inside, maybe line the boring old floor with some kind of bricks, make some kind of mosaic floor. I'm a very creative, ritualistic person, and my thing, you know, I'm going to talk about later, you know what I mean, address somebody's video about they bragging about making a grimoire. I had that in the works for dang years. Everything from different kind of things I had in my computer created in writings. I wanted to have fitness for both work related for tools and weapons, modeled after old medieval, a little bit of every kind of cultures, if you will, for tools, and even stuff like, you know, old Indian stuff inspired by old Indian stuff that you could make tools if you didn't have Steve. I mean, for the fun of it. I mean, if you had some desire in your head to try to make a movie, a storyboard for a movie, you got creative ideas, you gotta want to have some paper books, even if you write fictitious scenarios on things. But I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm getting overboard. But if you're a person brimming with ideas that you throw in with there, you know what I mean, and to leave off one last thing, if you got this far in video, not that you're saying the sky is falling, but the very first apocalyptic if you want to talk about doomsday prepping and shit, the very first thing that ever inspired me as a young kid, a small kid, like first and second grade and shit, you know what I mean? Keep in mind, I also grew up with Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston Christian movies as a kid, like the Ten Commandments with Moses, and the late Yul Brynner played Ramses, right? But what I'm getting at too, the late Yul Brynner that also played Ramses was in one of my all-time favorite movies. The favorite movie as a kid. The late Yul Brynner not just played Ramses, a movie called The Ultimate Warrior, along with Max von Sydow and William Smith, which those three stars that I mentioned, a couple of them died, only a couple. Max von Sydow and William Smith died, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago, and Yul Brynner died a long time ago. But I'll never forget the scene in the movie when the late Yul Brynner was talking to the late Max von Sydow. You know, what did it take to get you to join us? What was what I said to you? What did I say to you to convince you to join us? And he talks about, I had a stack of cigars, but they're talking about an old Cadillac. This was what my father had. But one of the quotes too, when they talk about where'd you come from, oh, Detroit, you know, there's a few groups there, something like this, but I've been just making my way. And then the haunting quote he says to Max von Sydow, the Baron, you know what I mean? He goes, well, you know, people are beginning to eat people out there. I haven't heard the stories, but anyway, a story about they're held up in a compound, you know. It was a simple movie, not a lot of gunplay like what people would say with their AR-15s now. Oh, The Ultimate Warrior, that's an old-ass movie. In the real scenario, oh, my AR-15... as a child, if you will, if you're some old person with an older dude with an AR-15, you'd probably know what I'm saying. If you're some dude older than me, right? Picture yourself, me as a child, with a capacity barely understanding the late Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston and Ten Commandments, and you're watching an apocalyptic movie. During the same scenario, you watch maybe Thundar the Barbarian, apocalyptic cartoon, or the bad guys in cartoons, you know, that are going to do something that can end the world or take... as a child, like, that you're limited in your capacity, you were able to understand the plot with a lot of without a lot of bang bang shoot 'em up action shit that you see nowadays. You were able, it's that old movie, you were able to grasp the plot as a child, and I think going back to it is a good thing, you know what I mean? And then give the classic movie and the classic stars its due, you know what I mean? But that's a little extra information for you, you know, I mean, in buying that. But alright, I almost forgot, I'm going to throw this little segment of this video in there and splice it in. I'm busy cooking spaghetti and meat for supper, but since I got on the subject rambling about The Ultimate Warrior and the late Yul Brynner, to rebuild civilization, music would be a very good thing. And I personally, talking about old movies like this, talking about especially the late Yul Brynner, when and apocalyptic things in the end of the world and rebuilding civilization without music. And in talking about that, if you look this up too, the late Yul Brynner did a album from Vanguard Records. It's pretty expensive if you were to go buy it on eBay or something, but from Vanguard Records, called The Gypsy and I. It was in another language. The guy had a pretty damn good voice. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind trying to sing his baritone, to sing shit like that, to go to a class and learn how to sing like that. You know what I mean? But there is a YouTube channel where you can actually go listen to the tracks of it if you look up The Gypsy and I with Yul Brynner. And since I brought up that book and brought up my idea of doomsday prepping and things and movies that inspired me, apocalyptic movies as a kid that inspired me, I want to throw music in there because yes, Yul Brynner did sing, and any of you older people who were in the new old movies and old movie stars probably already knew this, but yeah, throw that in there.